Why do you believe FTX failed?
I have an opinion. I don't have the records. Here it is. After my accounts were stripped of all of their assets and all of the accounting and trade information, I couldn't get answers from any of the executives in the firm, so I simply called Sam Bankman-Fried and said, "Where is the money, Sam?" He said he had been refused access to the servers. He no longer knew. I said, okay, let's step back. This is a simple case in my mind of where did the money go? And I said, Sam, walk me back 24 months. Tell me the use of proceeds of the assets of your company. Where did you spend it? And then he told me about a transaction that occurred over the last 24 months, the repurchase of his shares from Binance, his competitor. I didn't know this at the time, but at some point, CZ or Binance, who runs Binance, purchased 20% ownership in Sam Bankman-Fried's firm for seed stock. And then, over time, and I asked him, what would compel you to spend $2 billion was the number he was giving me at that time. Later, in a subsequent conversation, about 24 hours later, he told me it could have been as much as $3 billion to buy back the shares from CZ. I asked him, what would compel you to do that? Why wouldn't you keep your assets on your balance sheet? And why would you offer this to just one shareholder? He said, because every time we went to get licensed in different jurisdictions, because you must understand the prize of crypto is to get regulated. For all the talk we say about Bitcoin and everything else, no institutions own this. I work for the sovereign wealth and pension plans. They don't touch this stuff because it's unregulated. Between these two, let's call them frenemies, because they obviously were potentially the two largest shareholders in the firm, they had a disagreement. They had a falling apart. Apparently, according to Sam Bankman-Fried, CZ would not comply with the regulators' request in these different geographies, these different jurisdictions, to provide the data that would clear them for a license. He withheld it, according to Sam Bankman-Fried. The only option the management and Sam Bankman-Fried had was to buy him out at an extraordinary valuation of close to $32 billion, less apparently a 15% discount. That stripped the balance sheet of assets. You ask me why it went bankrupt? Go to the last week. All of a sudden, in social media, CZ is asking for another $500 million. He wants to do a block trade of FTT, or the proprietary token of FTX. Wants it converted back to fiat. Why would you put that out there? You know it's going to push down the pressure. It's going to push down the value of that coin dramatically, and that's exactly what happened. Every trader knows if you have a large block trade, you go negotiate a clearing price with other buyers and you do the transaction. In my view, my personal opinion, these two behemoths that own the unregulated market together and grew these incredible businesses in terms of growth were at war with each other. And one put the other out of business intentionally. Now, maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's nothing wrong with love and war. But Binance is a massive, unregulated global monopoly now. They put FTX out of business. Now, lots of other reasons, I'm sure, but that's my personal opinion. That is what Sam Bankman-Fried told me in terms of where the assets went. Why should we care? Single reason. I'm a shareholder. You tell me the two largest shareholders do a transaction together, that's a related party transaction. I'm not sure that's okay. Maybe I want a Madoff clawback on those proceeds. Why in the world would a block trade like the one owned by CZ and or Binance be tweeted out saying, I have $550 million worth of FTT tokens I'm going to put to the market? You don't trade like that. You arrange a cross. You go and find buyers, you form a syndicate, and you clear market with a trade. And let me tell you something, my read of the Senate today, they're tired of this. They don't want to keep holding hearings every 6 months when the next crypto crap blows up. They're done with it. They're really unhappy, and it's not going to stop here. Now, I don't know where we're going with this. The narrative's obviously going to be looking at Binance next. I have no idea. All of this stuff is alleged. There's no records. But the Senate, the Hill, the legislators, the regulators, they're done. They've had enough. And so I think we're going to get some action here. You can't keep taking these things down to zero, a billion at a time. At this point now, the most important thing are the records. And so John Ray has to go get the records. I'd argue this is a very simple situation, not that complicated. You follow the money. Now, let me tell you why it's going to be not so hard to do that. Every wire transfer going into Alameda, whether it's a Fed wire, ACH transfer, or a SWIFT wire, whether we're going to know the address it went to, we can audit that. All the meat grinding that went on in Alameda, we'll get the accounting records of that. We'll know how that occurred. Any transfers between FTX and Alameda, we'll get that too. Any crypto leaving either of those entities is on the blockchain, irrevocable. You can audit that. So my guess is we'll find out what happened here.
You already
I don't
know what time
where
it
the
is.
cash is.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Here to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Here to take notes.
Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some hedge on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim ready sent me to show you the way.
D5 Pro.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Here to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Here to take notes.
Yeah, that's a very interesting clip. I have a lot of things to say about
Go, just go, because I heard it 5 times yesterday. I want to hear your take.
So let's understand what Kevin O'Leary is saying, but then also understand the market dynamics of like what's actually taking place. So there is a monopoly effectively, but it's just doesn't seem like other players want to compete. They don't have the trust, right? Where Binance has these things in place, right? So they're the dominant player, right? They have 60% or higher than that in certain markets.
We think.
Well, according to a bunch of different sources, right? So wherever that number is, it's 50, maybe it's 75% of the global trading market for crypto is on Binance.
And you can see that on every analytics graphic chart there is in crypto. So they do these analytic graphic charts, Sam, and I'll pull one up at the end. Basically, it's like a solar system, and it shows you by size and how far things are, which ones are the most dominant. And they have these shooting stars with different levels of thickness. In the thickness, you can see the trade volume. And it's just a giant ball of Jesus Binance in the middle. That's all it is. And then there's Ethereum, and then there's a couple other things, and then there's little babies, but they're all shooting in and out of the middle circuit. And it's just as you would imagine it by looking at Dex Screener.
So when you do things like when you see it, this is this big. If you look back at Microsoft purposely did things with Office and their operating system to hurt competitors, right? So is exiting your position, even though it could be argued that the way he exited his position is not necessarily a prudent thing to do.
That's crypto. That's a crypto.
It's transparent. It's transparent, and it is crypto.
What's the best way to make your stock go up? Fire everyone or eliminate competition? That's how they do it. Period. That's how people do business. That's how I had to do business. I had guys that were doing the same business as me. I wanted them dead. Not really, but like in a better world for me, they were gone forever.
So I've watched several things, like I listened to a couple podcasts, like longer form content. I don't get I'm an aggressive dominating the market vibe even slightly at all from CZ.
He's so cool with it. He's too cool with it. Like he's like if if CZ worked for me, I'd be the happiest human being on the planet. Why? He's stoic. He's classic. He's nerdy. He's everything SBF is, except he actually knows people. SBF has no idea about people, bro.
Well, so what is your personal thoughts on this, right? And then we want to talk about Kevin.
I think that he's done everything
Let me ask you. So do you think CZ, in his heart, inside of him, did this intentionally to get FTX to go bankrupt?
150,000%. Yes.
Why do you believe that?
Because he thought that they were being horrible pedophilia, beanbag fucks, and disgusting, and their balance sheets were all insolvent. And he's smarter than that. Like, okay, like even if I'm a crazy evil fuck, if Sam's over there doing a business and it's starting to gain wind, but he's just literally an idiot. Like, I'm like, dude, come on. Is this dude still on TV? Does anyone ever look at his balance sheets? Has anyone ever looked at anything this guy does? The answer was no. Tom Brady forgot. Steph Curry forgot. Everyone that had $100 million in the United States that invested forgot. But Binance, but CZ, he's a goat. CZ is the real deal. I'm not saying he's good or bad human. I'm saying he's the real deal. He has a team. He's got people. He's got connections. He's on TV right now on CNBC this morning. He is the guy. China's playboy. And I'm saying that because everyone knows him as Chinese, right?
What do you think? Yes. What do you think of SBF?
He is Chinese. I don't know how much that relates to the actual country.
Yeah, because he might have been born there or his parents, but he lives somewhere else. Okay. What do you think of the SBF buying Voyager, I think they bought BlockFi, buying 2 or 3 other entities for several $1 billion over the past year? Well, given that layered on top of what Kevin O'Leary said, right? So Kevin O'Leary says that according to Sam Bankman, they don't have any assets because they spent $2 billion to buy back the shares, versus the actions that came out was, hey, we bought billions of dollars of BlockFi, Voyager, etc. Right? So the story is, hey, it's the bad guy is Binance, but in reality, it's because I'm a dumbass and I spent all this money on this thing. What are your thoughts?
I think you're just dead on. Like the way you framed that question would be exactly the way I would feel about it too. I think CZ, dude, all I think is SBF was running a shit show, an actual shit show. They exist, guys. He was using QuickBooks. Sam, their whole accounting was on QuickBooks. My dad uses QuickBooks, bro. Like my auntie uses QuickBooks, bro. Like she owns a flower business, bro. Like it's a great tool, but they lost $9 billion in one day, and there's levels to that accounting shit. I'm not stupid. I don't have to know. Come on, Sam. Do I have to be a genius?
No, I get it. You're right. I agree.
My mom uses QuickBooks, and then this has all the billions of dollars on it. So maybe they should be in 2 separate entities via the structure of those things. No hate, of course, on the QuickBooks. But seriously, Sam, they were running an S show. And CZ is running probably an S show too, but he's following the rules and he has the most money. That's critical. Like when you have the most money in the pool, the S show is a little different because you can't get S'd as easy if you're the biggest bubble. What are they going to do? Make you go to jail? I use Binance every day, literally. A little, like, or at least, and that's not to say that I think it's good. Sam, I got a good one for you. Mr. Meets Kevin had to cover this morning.
So
this exact take that you're talking about. Like,
so on the Kevin O'Leary side, before we get into the Meet Kevin piece. So Kevin O'Leary is an investor, right? So he is going to want to watch out for his best interest, right? One of the things that you can't do if you have regulated money, there's investment acts and like ERISA, there's pieces of legislation that require you to not put your money into something that is unregulated. So when he comes out there and says Binance is a bad entity, right? He wants to create regulation, because what does that allow him to do? It allows him to be the front man to bring more money into crypto, because it now has regulations. If there's no regulations, according to the rules, if you're managing money for other people, you are not allowed to put it into crypto. That's why there's a trust for Bitcoin, Grayscale, because entities want to invest into Bitcoin. They can't physically do that because it's against the law. So you create an intermediary, the trust that holds the Bitcoin, so you can get around the rules. That's why there's a trust there. And when this regulation takes place, then we're going to see just a floodgates of money dumping here. I'm curious to see what the meat.
Do you mind reading this real quick before we get? I'm going to click right over to the video once you're done reading this headline here. Read this for the people if they're not looking at the screen.
Sam Bankman-Fried is facing 8 federal indictments, charges of wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering in the aftermath of the FTX exchange collapse. Professionals expect a minimum of 115 years in prison for the founder of FTX.
Maximum 6,482 years for all his charges combined. Maximum sentence.
The U.S. SEC has charged collapsed crypto exchange platform's founder and former CEO with defrauding investors. Sam, which one?
I'll read this part. Samuel Bankman-Fried held in custody at Bahamas in aftermath of FTX exchange. Guys, we know he's in custody right now. He is in the Bahamas. In the Bahamas, the prison system, you know, GRC knows about prison systems because he's just obsessed with the media. I just love watching. It's just so interesting. So I watch it all. It's like my little hobby. The worst prison system you could ever met, worse than every prison system in the United States combined, and with horrible conditions. Now, I don't know exactly where he's staying, but they picked his ass up. So let's make sure. Yeah, so basically, dude, SBF is a fraudster, period, guys. And when they try to frame it that it's like some crypto thing, it's really not. It's just humans that didn't get caught for like 2 or 3 years that people trusted. And then they lost a lot of money. But everyone's sharper now, dude, Sam, because of this. So much sharper. IQs rose 10 points across all humans that are talking crypto. They're diving in. I got guys that hate me and hate the show that are doing better research now than they ever were. And they're starting, you know, they eventually will follow behind, of course. But like it took me about a year to get out of the matrix, let's say. But I was always open-minded the whole time, and I never was a D-rider. So let's this is a great clip. Meet Kevin here. Thank you, Meet Kevin. I've given you a hard time. I've said horrible things about you, but you are good at what you do. That's one thing I'm starting to emphasize too. Like, instead of calling people dumb, which is so stupid to do, but it's easy, say you're good at what you do, but you just might not be the best at what you don't do. Some people are good at a lot of stuff. Some people are better. O'Leary will run shit, but I guarantee he's not the best family man in history, right? Like, let's just be honest. Sam, and I got to talk about Elon at the end of this. I have like 100 DMs of people telling me Elon is evil, devil, worst person in history. And I'm like, didn't he change automobile travel for the rest of history of mankind?
And free speech?
Didn't he change the trajectory of human travel forever? He gets a pass, okay? He's missed it. Until I hear that he's messing with the babies or the beanbags. I love Elon Musk. I can't help it. He's taught me so much ever since I started researching like 4 weeks ago. Just really good, dense information. So I want ones in the chat if you're about that life with Elon. 2s in the chat if you think me and Sam are just like classic plebs that are just totally obsessed with Elon because he is whatever. I don't know. He's awesome.
Okay.
Want to set the golden standard for reliability.
So this is Meet Kevin.
Meet Kevin, guys, and I'm not gonna join skip the join and hit the like button over here for Kevin, and leave a comment. Thank you so much, Kevin, for the great content. And I'm sorry for giving you a hard time. I'm trying to change my ways with being a shit talker.
We want to be transparent. We want to set the golden standard for reliability, solidness in this
So
space.
do it. Would you be able to
$8 million.
handle it if somebody asked you for $2.1 billion back? Would that be okay? Would you be able to still withstand things?
We're financially okay.
Including you have $2.1 billion to give away. If somebody came to claw that back, you'd still be fine?
We'll let the lawyers handle it. We are financially strong.
CNBC just absolutely destroyed CZ from Binance. If you still had any trust left for CZ, it should be gone after this interview. It is so.
All right, we gotta open it up there before he keeps going. I have to let Sam go on that. I need to hear your take on that because he's going to get into whatever he gets into. That's a little bit bold.
If you're talking about potential litigation in the future, when you have somebody that could be argued as a douchebag, as in Kevin O'Leary, and somebody that is 100% a douchebag, Sam Bankman-Fried, and the only reason, one of the ways you paint a story, Kevin O'Leary is good at this, right? He's going to paint the story that Binance is bad. Why? Because if he can steal back a legitimate deal to purchase the shares, they went down months or a year earlier, then he can get his money back.
And what do we know about guys like O'Leary? They don't care about money. They care about losing money. They don't care about the US dollar that they have for lunch the day of. Everything inside of them burns like fire when they get ripped for 15 million. Same with Richard. Same with a lot of guys like that. Well, Richard buys assets like watches and stuff, but they all go up in value. They hate losing premium at all. They want to keep it even, and then they feel attacked. And remember, we were talking about disrespect earlier a little bit, or like not disrespect. No, I think I was talking about someone else, but like there's a bunch of guys that I talked to from that got out of prison, and they think that if they beat people up, that it makes them tough. And they think that I care if they're tough. And I have to remind them sometimes, I'm like, bro, I don't care if you beat people up, bro. That's not really a thing out here. So I think it's important to remember, like, there's a lot of nuance here, Sam, and we're going to watch this play out throughout the whole entire thing.
So on that point, so if I did a deal with you, right, and then I fucked shit up because I'm an utter scumbag, and then down the road, you are the person who I did the deal with. Somebody else is saying, well, in actuality, GRC is the bad guy. Sam's not a dumbass at all. He didn't steal your money. He didn't have any fucking clue what he was doing. He wasn't sending money to his hedge fund. The actual issue here is GRC because he is the monopoly here. We should go after GRC because he stole $2 billion. And then
now in our pocketbooks, though, Sam, this isn't the worst case scenario for like United States crypto people, like what O'Leary's kind of preaching. I feel like, you know,
what does that do if you go on television next and somebody's like, "Hey Sam, do you have that?" Or "Hey GRC, do you have that $2 billion to pay back?" Are you going to answer that question? No, you're not going to answer that question.
No.
Yeah, you're going to say, "Well, that's up to the lawyers to decide."
No, I know. Yeah, of course there's clickbait in here too, but remember, like, this is all smoke, as we call it. In my eyes, I look for when they open up the tweets more and they start showing some of the accounting. So, and they do that. So the accounting in the way that they show on the front ends, like they'll show. I've been getting into statistics and all the balance sheets and everything. So they do misrepresent certain statistics that guys like me really don't know enough about to keep going. I'm like, oh, well, this is where the track ends for me, you know, like, and at 40 minutes later, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, what if they used a mixer? What if something happened? What am I going to do once I click on this centralized exchange? Nothing is the truth. I ain't no auditor.
And remember, just to put this into context as we get into this video, remember, I like me, Kevin, right? He was started in real estate. But remember, he's also the same dude who promoted FTX, right? He was the same dude who was promoting FTX. Just to keep that in mind, let's get back into the video.
Yeah, and this dude has children he's in legacy finance. Remember, those guys don't necessarily care about the people. This dude's getting his money and working, period. End of story. But he does a decent job at it. And when I look at the Fed rate hike live stream in the morning, I go to meet Kevin, if I'm going to be 100% honest, because he really has a good insight on those numbers. He's been watching those things for a long ass time. In real estate, I mean, let's be honest, that was a snipe.
Evasive and disgusting. And it follows a Bloomberg article from November where we were told that individuals who have tried to sue Binance.com have found that it's almost impossible to sue them because the Binance platform is not owned by any company or other legal entity. It's owned by a litany of companies, and it's potentially just all owned by CZ, but nobody knows how to actually even sue the right company or organization because it's so arcanely orchestrated. So it's no surprise that his company is operated out of the Cayman Islands, and that Bloomberg here suggests that maybe he's avoiding even visiting the United States because if he shows up to the United States, he fears he might be arrested. Or a quote like this: "There are other signs of CZ's pivot to conventionality might not be entirely urgent. The day of the interview, CZ said a reporter could visit the new Dubai office they had. But after a flurry of emails, calls, and texts during which assistants and PR consultants made an array of excuses, a Binance representative said that, oh, in fact, the office was closed because of a surge of COVID cases, which the reporters found odd because CZ had made no reference to the disease during the interview, nor had anyone else at the company."
What a fucking dumbass thing to say about he never mentioned at the interview the epidemic that everyone had to stay in their house in the total globe. They still beg me not to pay my mortgage for COVID relief. Like, it's just like, come on. Like, we all I don't know, Sam. What do you?
I don't, doesn't seem like it's a big issue to me. I don't.
Is this too fluffy? But we'll keep it going for a little bit. Again, we got some Elizabeth Warren and some legislative talk that we had. Did anybody check? And I live streamed it. What we watched yesterday, the Congress, O'Leary, all of the live feed. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. And we are going to watch some of that. And if there's any videos that you guys have caught this morning that are new and really good about this topic, you guys know I've been about 4 days deep trying to figure out what's going on with Binance, and I'm basically at nothing. So let's go.
Mentioned that COVID was an issue. Yet the previous day, Binance arranged a separate interview with the company's head of Middle Eastern operations, who showed up unmasked at a crowded hotel lobby, where he appeared to be conducting in-person meetings in the lobby rather than at any of their offices. But forget Bloomberg. Maybe Bloomberg's wrong. Let's just hear directly from the man himself. This $2.1 billion that Becky Quick asks for is a reference to $2.1 billion that they received potentially from FTX, the obviously now bankrupt crypto exchange, thanks to the blatant fraud of Sam Bankman-Fried running out of liquidity at his trading firm Alameda Research and then deciding to use customer assets instead. So
we got Dr. V Ray with the $10, the Tenzar super sticker. Dr. V Ray, the Zen goat. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Dr. V Ray. I really appreciate that. We're going hard for the squad. Let's get it. Is it Thursday today? I think so.
Yes.
All right. Happy Thursday, everyone. It's the day past hump day. It's a big day.
Obviously, when CZ says, yeah, we got $2.1 billion from FTX, but we're not exactly sure where that money is now, or we kind of forgot about it, wasn't really important to us.
Even after the FTT price dropped over the last year, we still have $500 million worth of it. $580 million worth of it on the day when we transferred from the address we received a year and a half ago. We never touched it. We actually kind of forgot about it.
It kind of makes you wonder, if FTX had terrible accounting practices, why doesn't CZ know where the money is? And do they actually have that money? After all, they retweet on Twitter that, oh, don't worry, look, we have like $60 billion in cold wallets. Well, why then are total debts listed as NA? And why are you defining net worth as the same thing as an asset? Net worth, which is equity, equals assets minus debts. But if you're refusing to reveal the debts, then this is
Sam, your expertise could fill some of us in here.
The debts could be zero. I don't have the context for this information. And the little,
That was just a little.
This sounds like a hack job by Kevin. In how I'm perceiving this, it's like he doesn't. It appears biased and doesn't want to understand the picture of like reality from how I'm looking at it. I could be wrong, but
It feels that way to me as well. It feels the way that he's like saving face here.
Yes.
But it is important to note, like, some of those little fine-tuned points about, I don't know any of this stuff. So sometimes, like, or as much of this stuff. So sometimes when I'm looking at it, like, I can't catch a good beat on it. So it's important that we all discuss this together. Like, whether we like Meet Kevin or not, we know he's a perma-shill. So he's going to defend his honor. And that's important to note. But every man does that. So when we're looking at all these videos, remember me and Sam talk about bias all the time. Me and Sam have biases too. Like if we walk into an alley and there's everyone with hoods on, like we're probably going to be sketched the fuck out, even if they're nice dudes, right? Like there's bias in every human being, but it's important to understand that some guys have financial leverage, staker syndrome 101. Your cognitive dissonance goes bonkers when you have lost money or over leveraged into something that has gone to zero, especially if you got others. Imagine if you got your girl $100 grand she dumped on Hex at the top, how you would feel. Not her. Put her aside. Who knows what she would feel? She might
that's $5 grand. Now that's $5 grand.
Well, no, let's just say like, that's gone. I mean, let's just say she probably would have been gone from you just because you would have felt so pissed. You would have been so like, I fucked up. And that's why I didn't really tell anyone to buy a fuckload of Hex. Anyway, I was scared to death to tell someone to buy. You know what I mean? Like directly. Like I would explain the product to many people. I would never tell someone to get their debit card out and set up or like get going. I'd be like, do it on your own but I'll tell you what's going on. And I even stopped doing that.
Exactly. I'll tell people to get into Ethereum. Right?
That's the easiest fucking. That's what I do too now. It's so much easier. It's so much better. And if Ethereum fails, it's like, damn, communism is legit.
This is a totally blatant misdirection. Now, you might be thinking, but Kevin, maybe they don't have any debts. But that's not actually what CZ says.
But thus far, you haven't disclosed your liabilities. And I wonder why that is and whether you will.
Yeah, so we are working with firms to do the audited financials, liabilities, etc.
Okay, so you have liabilities. You just don't want to tell us what those liabilities are. Now, what could possibly help us reveal what kind of assets and liabilities they actually have? How about an audit? What does CZ have to say about an audit?
But audits don't reveal every problem. So
No, but an audit from a Big Four auditor would reveal that, CZ. If you could get a Big Four auditor to say that, if you're saying that some of them don't want to work with you, that raises questions too. They don't want to work with you because you don't have the files and the data that would make them feel comfortable signing off and giving that stamp of approval?
Actually, many of them don't even know how to audit crypto exchanges. They don't really when they audit, they're very used to auditing a firm.
Just take a moment here to appreciate Becky Quick's reaction, and then we'll keep going.
Many of them don't even know how to audit crypto exchanges. They don't really when they so.
Now, if only there were another crypto exchange that was publicly listed on the NASDAQ and regulated by the SEC, requiring audits, which would mean there was an auditing company that was probably a Big Four auditing company, like a Deloitte.
This I 100% believe by CZ. We have talked to founders. We've talked to founders on this show over the last year more than once. Even KG was saying this too. More than once, you try to do something that is relatively commonplace in legacy, and you try to contact that firm to get them to do something in crypto. What's a guy who's doing? It's like Stud OX or something like that. He's also talked about this.
Coast.
Thank you. Coastal OX. The people in legacy are fucking clueless about crypto, right? Kevin, I don't know. The more I'm watching this, the more I see that Kevin either is talking about shit he doesn't know, or he's 100% biased, or get a little bit of both, like incompetence and, you know what I mean, bias there.
You kind of made me want to turn him off and go to Elizabeth Warren. Do we have everything we need from this bias? I feel like we might.
Am I like this?
No,
is
you're not. No, you're not. You're not. I wanted to make sure, though. I had to make
sure. We're going to talk to people who are in the know on this stuff, and they tell us legacy players don't have any clue how to deal with crypto. Like, and then CZ to come out, yeah, they don't know how to audit in crypto. Bro, you don't know what you're talking about. Kevin, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you have to inform yourself more. Otherwise, you look like an incompetent person to people who know what they're talking about.
Well, oh, exactly. Dude, exactly. But these guys have audiences of people not like you and me. Like, I watch him to, like, make sure that I didn't miss some, like, pleb news. But I don't watch him to figure out this stuff. This is the big boy stuff. This is what I take notes on all day. This is the stuff that matters. Or yesterday, I took notes on it all day. So why does it matter, right? Because they make the flipping rules. They make the rules. And they make the rules whenever they want. And they're sick of sitting in this fucking seat and having to do anything. But to them, $1 trillion is enough to say that terrorism funds the entire world in the United States. It's time to just end it. And this woman is ratch, man. She's tough. And whoever was birthed from this woman, I'm sorry for you. She might not have kids. But anyway, we're going to talk about this whole situation here. We got a little back and forth, a little O'Leary, 6 minutes here. This is probably the best back and forth. Watch Elizabeth Warren debate crypto investor Kevin O'Leary. So they basically go one-on-one here with a little bit of secret sauce from Mrs. Sam, you're going to get heated here.
So Sam Bankman-Fried and other crypto billionaires argue crypto is special, but a basic principle of our financial system is same kind of transactions, same kind of risk, means same rules apply. Right now, if a bank takes money from terrorists and the bank and the banker then have broken the law. And that's why banks spend so much time and so much energy identifying who their customers are and reporting suspicious activity to authorities. A lot of crypto firms are not doing these kinds of checks. So crypto has become the preferred tool for terrorists, for ransom.
100% incorrect. 100%.
It's called the US dollar.
Yeah.
It's called USD. That's where most of the crimes are committed. Using
so you want your crime to be committed in a wallet that everyone gets to stare at for the rest of the time, Sam? Is that how you want to take me ransom? You want to get some Ethereum for it so they can hack your account and make sure that you've been a good boy? Fuck no, motherfucker. Give me some cash and some fucking cocaine now, ASAP, and some of those prescription drugs that they put all over the streets for 20 years. How many people died due to the opioid epidemic? Because opioids were frankly free for every human to have across the entire country. And then in that same breath, how many of the people that sold the drugs from the pharmacies that were free, if you called your doctor, are in prison for 40 plus years for a nonviolent crime? Sam, it's important to discuss these guys for the young guys in here, because I know their parents ain't going to be giving them all this rap, but it's important, guys. This government does not care. It's a business. They don't care about you. They don't care if you're dead. They don't care if SBF's in prison. If they're done with him, they're done with him. And if he's not going to snitch, they're done with him. And if he snitches, they're going to be real done with him. So it's bad, man. This is the reason my thumbnail was, guys, this is my day 4 of GRC making thumbnails. I mean, let's get real. I'm getting better. I ain't perfect, but Obama, Biden, I was going to throw Hunter Biden in there, but I couldn't find any room. And, but seriously, I mean, guys, that's 3 days on the sauce for GRC making his own thummies. And it's been nothing but a great ass time. It's like, oh, I get to work, but actually like do something funny. It's like a cool little mix up, but I'm doing it to learn so that at any moment, at any day, at any time, I can spin up a dope ass thumbnail in 5 minutes. That's the power. Lane. I'm a Lane, my guy. Lane is tweeting Richard every single day until he comes on Crypto in the Morning. Even crypto. Hold on. First of all, Lane, thank you so much. And you're an awesome young man. And don't let any of these people stop you from being honest and truthful and work hard every single day. And you will never fail. And you don't trust you, just trust the world and do the right thing. And you will be right in the position that you never thought possible, ever. Just remember that. Stoic. That's the guy we were talking about from Coast.
This is who I was talking about when I referenced that. Stoic mentioned something about working with, you can watch the video, working with regulators, working with somebody in legacy, and though players in legacy don't know how to interpret things in crypto. There's a knowledge gap that's the size of the Grand Canyon, and people are set in their ways and they're scared little bitches. So they don't want to make decisions. So they just don't do anything. So when CZ says that
you just go to zero, they just go to zero. NASDAQ down 3% on the daily.
Ooh.
On the daily, they just go to zero and wait, and then they get gold like halfway through, and then they lose like 6% to inflation on that, and then they just pray to God it's good to go.
Did you see his comment too?
No, I'm sorry, I forgot. I wanted to read it. Even for crypto-focused banks. Think about this. Think about this comment from Stoic here, if you're in here. Even crypto-focused banks don't have the capacity to audit crypto companies. Even crypto auditing companies don't have the capacity to audit because they're not regulated tight enough. There's not enough standard in the industry yet. I've noticed, at least. It seems like they just simply don't have the internal resources. Open that up, Sam, for me. Internal resources. They just don't have this. Remember, Sam, I said a war on information, not money right now. This. Yes. A couple of bankers could change the world if they just use this for 2 fucking seconds.
Do you think that if somebody was like, hey, audit this crypto, you'd be like, okay, cool. I have a framework. Is it immutable? Is it permissionless? Is there like any admin keys? Is there how is the supply distributed, et cetera, right? You could take a look at crypto and understand if it was stupid or if it was like, oh, it appears to be positive. You're not going to necessarily understand the code, but like from if what the words that they say are not straight up lies, you can be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now, if you took that same, if I was like, hey, bro, why don't you go, there is a doctor's office down the street. It's a dentist, right? Can you go do an audit on them and check their business? You're gonna be like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. That's effectively the same thing, guys. Think about whatever industry you're in, whatever thing that you do for a living. Now pick something completely effing different than what you do, completely different, something you have no idea about, and say you got to talk about that thing as an audit. You got to go do an audit on that other thing. The thing that you know that you do every single day, not a problem. The thing that you don't do, that you have no idea about, there's no way you're going to be good at that.
I could do a better audit right now than most people at the bank. Why though? Because I have my information in there. I know people I could text, call. This is important when it comes to auditing, Sam. I can imagine, I don't know anything about auditing, but you have to like take a detailed comb through of some numbers and words, and you just have to say if it's legit or not. But what Sam's saying is no one knows the game we're playing. No one even knows if it's legit or not. The Congress people, the people that make the rules, are just figuring out about immutable code loops and like how some things are immutable. And now they're bringing up distribution, just like I do every day. I say, guys, don't get it twisted. We like PLSD, ASICs, whatever. Distribution is critical. Why can one guy give away 100,000, but everyone can have, it's important to remember these things. They are the sauce. The sauce is, okay, where did all those coins go? Who spent them? And then a guy like Jack Levin comes out, right? He makes a coin that you can't really buy off the jump, and you can mint for a few dollars and get a decent rate. All my mints have been profitable up this far, but it's fair crypto, Sam. Why is that important at a time like this? Why is something like that important? Distribution method over long periods of time, detailed work, simple code to audit. How easy to audit is Zen? Any human being that knows Solidity can audit Zen, period. It's like 400 lines of code. It's like 400 words of code or a line of code, which is like a page. It's so, Sam, that's pretty cool, right? Remember, I tell leadership, people bringing in real detailed work, people putting pen to paper and really figuring something out. You know, it took Jack 40 days to figure this thing out, and it has an 8-year time scale on it for inflation, right? Come on. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And he loves Elon. He loves the first principles. He loves these innovative technology techniques that we use. Let's get back to Elizabeth.
All right, I just pulled up one more comment.
Stoic, big fan, Stoic, by the way. And you being in here makes me feel like I'm doing a good ass show. We tried to get major. Oh, this is Stoic. Just one more reference. Stoic. Fiat on ramps. He's trying to change the fiat on ramp game in crypto. They want to make it so banks don't interact with crypto. That's okay. We need fiat on ramps. We can make banks as shit. Like we tried to get major banks to look at our flow of funds for the fiat on ramp for Pulse Chain. After 2 months assembling docs for them, they finally told us, sorry, we don't know what we're looking at.
Right.
And the guys just sit there and have to smoke a beer and like a whiskey shot because they're like, humans just aren't catching up. It's hard saying, I feel the same thing every day. Like I'm pushing really hard to try my best. And I now just put myself in a position where I want to teach as many young guys as possible. That's the only play. It's like the only play, because if they're over 28, they're wrecked. Mentally, generally, 90% of them. But like some people also, when they get young, Sam, this is a human war. Like this is the first like real human war. Like every human needs to suit up here. It's just here.
It's not this anymore. Like I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
It's like, oh my God, focus and stop crying and just learn. It'll take you a year and we'll take over everything. But I need men. And I say men, I mean smart young people that are fucking emotionally secure. And there's people out there, bro. I meet them sometimes, bro. I swear to God, but you can change the world by changing the people. And if you change the people, you just have to sacrifice yourself, because I don't make all the moves that make my life feel amazing all the time. I just do what I feel like God would want me to do. Like what would someone that was trying to change the world want you to do? Like I just try to do that, and I'm not perfect. I fuck up all day long. I say things that, make me look cool or make me whatever, sometimes, but I try my best just to like young guys. Like it's not about me. It's not about my money. It's not about my girlfriend. It's not about my sex life. It's not about nothing about me. It's about changing the world and seeing what we can do, because frankly, young men will get spared in war, and whether that's financially or in this case, it's financially. So let's see what she wants to do. She'll be gone in about 10 years. If 29 is the top for women, she hit that about 50 years ago. And she's a freaking raging bitch. So I hate this woman because she's a bitch. I don't know much about her. But man, don't bring that bitchy energy. Like everyone was bringing really good shit, and she just got all terrorist with it. Like it just changed the whole dynamic. But let's just play this. 6 minutes, 40 seconds, guys. We have 25 more minutes to check shit out. This is dope. Unless Sam has to dip, but I'll still be here till 12:30. So Sam, any more comments before we go right back into this?
No, I'm curious to see how she responds. I've seen a little clip.
Well, it gets wild.
Where gangs for drug dealers and
bullshit too. Bullshit.
These kind of much energy identifying who their customers are and reporting suspicious activity to authorities. A lot of crypto firms are not doing these kinds of checks. So crypto has become the preferred tool for terrorists, for ransomware gangs, for drug dealers, and for rogue states that want to launder money. In 2021, at least $14 billion in digital assets went to criminals. Now, that's a lot of drugs and a lot of ransoms and a lot of bombs and a lot of nuclear materials, but it is likely only the tip of the iceberg. A new report finds that one crypto exchange alone helped launder over $10 billion for criminals and countries like Iran. Even so, the crypto
What a fucking whore to even dare bring up funding of war. How insane is that she brings up funding of war as the biggest problem in crypto?
Well, also remember, SBF, the dude that just went to jail, the dude that just stole billions of dollars, he's funding people like this clown.
And he went to freaking prison and he stole $9 billion. And what the fuck? Doesn't the United States government like make the war start and then fund the whole thing?
Yes.
So when does the crypto like fund? And how
what
many
they
trillions of dollars did we spend this year on war? Did she just bring up 10 billion? She brought up 10. What is that? 2 nukes or like a freaking like a plane and a half? Like there's a fucking mass war going on right now, and she's gonna bring this up as the start of her context. If you understand the framing there, she needs to know that people aren't this stupid anymore. They're not that stupid. They had to sit in their house for COVID and all them jabs.
Industry continues to take the position nothing should change. Professor Allen, the crypto industry claims that it doesn't need to do all of the know your customer and other anti-money laundering checks that banks do and stockbrokers do, and even Western Union does, because crypto is uniquely transparent. Everything is on the blockchain, so criminals and rogue states that try to launder money in crypto will quickly be found out. Does the fact that the blockchain is public mean that it is more difficult for criminals to launder money using crypto?
In many ways, the blockchain is the worst of all worlds. For everyday people, the blockchain is a permanent public record of all their transactions, which is a privacy nightmare. But for sophisticated players with a vested interest in hiding their transactions, there are all kinds of tools available, mixers, tumblers, etc., that can hide the provenance of their crypto assets. And far from being difficult for criminals to use crypto to launder money, the fact that there aren't KYC checks is the point.
Okay, so crypto.
Is there a reason she's like crying? Like look at her face. Like is it really hurt that bad? But look.
Well, that's just because she can't think for herself. She has to read her notes.
But I know, but just like, oh my God, like it's like almost there's a robot in there with a little devil behind it clicking buttons.
Transactions, which is a privacy.
Look at her face.
But for sophisticated players with a vested interest in hiding their transactions, there are all kinds of tools available, mixers, tumblers, etc., that can hide the provenance of their crypto assets. And far from being difficult for criminals to use crypto to launder money, the fact that there aren't KYC checks is the point.
Okay, so crypto is actually easier to do money laundering. Let's look at another crypto industry argument. Professor Allen, the crypto industry claims that it would be too much trouble and maybe even technologically impossible for them to check customers the way that banks and stockbrokers and even Western Union does. But let me ask, do banks and stockbrokers in Western Union have to invest money and resources to make sure that they're set up to conduct those checks?
Yeah, I mean, KYC requirements are simply part of operating a financial services business. But avoiding those requirements, as you say, is critical to many crypto business models. Blockchain-based transaction processing, as we've discussed, is very clunky and expensive. Ms. Schulp has just told us that it can be more efficient. The only way it's more efficient is if it actually avoids the KYC checks that can slow things down. So this crypto business model is in many ways a regulatory arbitrage play.
Right. And so actually it's an interesting question. If banks and Western Union said they shouldn't have to follow any money laundering rules so that they could make more money, they could improve their profitability. what would our country say, and what does every country around the world in the financial system say?
No.
Right. Okay.
It's because you control the
It's
money,
so
bitch. Like you're.
Before you go, just I said some horrible swear words, and I would like if we took it easy on that because there's a couple DMs about children.
Okay.
Little babies. I said effing whore.
Well, there appears to be a clear agenda. This lady's been a quack for quite a long time. This is the same lady who claims to be 1/116th of Indian, so she gets fucking special rights because she's partial Indian, right? Like the quack jobs of the left are just like making up all sorts of weird fairy tale shit in their fucking mind. Yeah, who knows what they're smoking? Who knows what they're doing? That shit that comes out of their mouth is just like idiotic. But crypto versus USD, right? In crypto, it's not regulated. How are you going to the piece that you do regulate is where it touches USDC, where you have to KYC. There are some ways you can get around that. But reality, GRC.
Isn't there endless ways to get around that though?
Oh yeah. But what do you do? What do you do if you're a criminal and you have cash and you need to do a business transaction?
You make sure it doesn't smell like drugs first. So make sure your cash isn't stored where your drugs be at, because then they'll be like, bro, the cash smells like drugs, bro. So that's step one. I'm just kidding, but seriously.
I've known people over the years who had their businesses were not necessarily right. They were in things that are not necessarily legal, and they set up a legal entity to channel the money through. Right?
Yeah, that's everyone. I would do that too. If I was doing some illegal shit, I would start a business ASAP, car wash, anything that gets cash flow, anything that has circulating cash flow. Why? Because no one does detailed work anymore. Why? I could probably go 10 years and no one would notice if a 75 grand was slipping through there or whatever the amount of money was. Depending on the business, it changes to like how much. Like if you're making like under $1 million a year, it's going to change like your business idea for your money laundering. But again, this is all extremely illegal. I would never want to do that. There's no reason to do that anymore. You can sit both USDC and DAI in a pool and earn 0.5% on it a day or whatever. And so why do I care? Information, Sam, I bring it up all the time. What do drug dealers not have when they're little? Any information. So what do? They sell their dad's drugs because they don't know what else to do to make money. And then that becomes a style like you get with the peoples and all that stuff. Information is critical. I bet if all those guys knew that they could make $1,000 a day on 50 grand, they would be in a different position if they had all the tools and $100 computer to do it, which is easy. But they don't. They don't know. Nobody knows. Even the guys in crypto don't know because every leader in crypto is fucking a lying piece of shit. And they don't want anyone to make money but them. And I think the first principles, Elon Musk, Jack LaVenne, guys like that are going to come in and kind of ruffle some feathers with some first principle vibes. So let's go back to her. Jeez Louise. What an amazing, like wild time to be covering crypto every day. Like what?
Right? Like
it makes me feel like the Lord wanted me to be here for the war of information. And I say that all the time. Like literally, like said, like if you're a man and you have a beating heart, do something to help something. Make someone's dog better off at least, or something cool. Like do something to make something better.
It is a war on the mind right now. Most people are not paying attention to that. And this is not the physical war where I'm going to come over there and kill you. This is the war of perception and you understanding reality. And so many people don't understand reality.
And all those artists, authors, everything like that, you just all lost your jobs because of AI. So forever you lost your jobs to guys like me who have never written a paragraph in my life. I'm sure all those people that spent 10 years learning languages, I'm sure I'll be able to beat you to everyone. You know why? Because I understand innovation, the first principles, technology. I know what I'm looking for. And I know what's going to happen. And I know what humans are capable of. I guarantee I will have zero time interacting with a woman who does not speak English in the future. Zero. Like, no, it is. So think about something like that. Like they're taking care of communication barriers, everything. It's happening now. AI, and the big guys want in so big. They want trillions of dollars gone into what's the AI company that owns GBT?
Open AI.
Yeah, Open AI, man. Like I was reading the funding for that shit, over $1 trillion. Like what? Like what is going on? Oh wait, we're on it right now. We're on it.
I know that you are a big supporter of crypto, even after you lost $10 million in FTX's collapse, but you are an experienced investor. So let me ask you, do you believe that the potential benefits of crypto are so promising that we should accept weaker anti-money laundering rules and weaker compliance from crypto firms than we require from banks, from brokers, and from Western Union?
No, I think we should apply the same regulatory structure that we apply to existing trading of stocks and bonds on exchanges tied to broker dealers. That is not complicated. It's already been implemented in other countries. And so, and I take issue, Senator, with your concept that it makes it easier to do money laundering. Currencies have been used for drug trafficking since the 60s in the American dollar, when it was thrown out of a Piper aircraft in a duffel bag. The American dollar is also used by bad actors all the time.
Mr. O'Leary, I appreciate your point that everyone tries to engage in money laundering. That's what terrorists do. That's what drug dealers do. And that's what states like Iran and
She was right. Drug companies. She corrected herself, but she was right. The big pharma. Yes, that's all.
Yeah, she almost slipped. I heard that too. Little shit. That little shit. She is a little shit, right? He just made the most dynamite point in history, and she just undercuts it. And what the fuck, man? That sucks. And she gets to rule the room, dude. What?
Have been used for drug trafficking since the 60s in the American dollar, when it was thrown out of a Piper aircraft in a duffel bag. The American dollar is also used by bad actors all the time.
Mr. O'Leary, I appreciate your point that everyone tries to engage in money laundering. That's what terrorists do. That's what drug dealers do. And that's what states like Iran and
the U.S.
North Korea have done. The only point I'm trying to make.
I'm like states like Iran, like, oh, don't use those buzzwords, you little
Massachusetts, like the state she's from.
Fucking bitch. I hate this woman. How could you be so naive? She's not naive. She's being paid to say these words, and she's better at it than the girl getting paid that was fucking almost in tears, like she had a desert eagle to the back of her head. Literally, Sam, that other girl, if you look at her, just imagine a dude standing behind her with a gun. And that's what it looks like. It looks like someone who is being forced, and someone who is scared, and someone who is worried about the words that she's saying, period. And it's like, this is devil shit.
Should the same rules against money laundering apply to crypto in the way that they apply to banks, to stockbrokers, to credit card companies, to Western Union? I think your answer to that was yes. Is that right?
No.
Mr. O'Leary, you have 30 seconds. Keep your answer short here.
It's not yes. I'm just saying, if you know your client rules on both sides of the transaction and use a crypto such as USDC that is regulated, you solve this problem, Senator, overnight.
Well, I appreciate that you want the same kind of rules to apply to everyone, and we can talk about what's needed to make that happen. The dark underbelly of crypto is its critical link to financing terrorism and human trafficking and drug dealing and helping rogue nations like North Korea and Iran. Crypto doesn't get a path to financing terrorism.
Bro.
It gets rough, dude. I'm telling you, bro. It's rough, man.
It's like she's talking about the U.S. government, right? It's like the U.S. She's like literally spitting the actual arguments of what's taking place in this country right now with the U.S. dollar, funding terrorism, funding wars.
Sam, she knew about this information war long before I did. She knows about this shit, man. She knows everything, man. She knows that she needs to get everyone, my parents, all the people like that still don't believe it, even though our president's oldest son is a pedophile, a literal child molester, crack addict, and he exposed all that shit all over online. Elon erased it all, everything, tried to make all the kiddie shit go away. And think about where we're at now, guys. This is a war on information. She knows all this shit. Duh. Like, she knows that. What is she doing? She's pitching to her people. She's doing the Richard Hart. She's doing that. This is the people. They don't know anything. I got to keep them on my squad. And I think the resistance, the information is gaining headway. I think if there's like a little chart, like people learning things versus complete retardation is like just starting to get to a little premium there. So, and that's big. That's big time. And there's real men that are working now. And it's exciting to see. It's exciting to see guys come in the industry coast. You know, all these guys, they're real dudes and they know this shit. They're not playing around. Why did Sam Bankman-Fried come into crypto in 2017? Why did Richard Hart come into crypto in 2012? Why did Jack Levin come into crypto in 20 whatever? Because they knew that what was going to happen already. Period. But this is just like the little workout in the middle, right? This is like the little fights you have in the middle. And I think we're gaining headway. And I want to know in the chat, how do you feel? Do you think that we're wrecked? One's in the chat if you think we're wrecked. All 2023 is a wreck. And two's in the chat if you feel like we got some headway here. 2023 could be a magical year for crypto. That's what I think.
And human trafficking and drug dealing and helping rogue nations like North Korea and Iran. Crypto doesn't get a pass to help the world's worst criminals, no matter how many television ads they run or how many political contributions they make. It is time for Congress to make the crypto industry follow the same money laundering rules as everyone else. That is why Senator Marshall and I introduced a bipartisan.
Bro, more people.
I'm not gonna let her mention her bill. She shills. She legit does like a bill shill. Like just like anyone in crypto, it's crazy. I didn't even want to let people get that in their ears. So Sam, just let's touch on it before we talk about something else. Like that was bad, dude. The last 10 minutes of that was pretty crazy, pretty hectic. It was, dude. She said some pretty fucking disgusting things that aren't even remotely accurate via like US dollar valuation. So what do you think?
Let's go through and recap some of the things that we covered today, right? CZ has been helping the crypto industry flourish by investing into other entities so that they can grow, right? Then we have Kevin O'Leary coming out and talking about trying to steal back money from Binance so that he can pad his own pocketbook and the scumbag of Sam Bankman-Fried, right? So we have misinformation happening over here. Then we have the guy that used to be in real estate who's now trying to purport to be a news person talking about shit he has no effing clue about, called Meet Kevin on YouTube, where he's trying to do a hatchet job on CZ. Again, somebody talking about shit that they don't know about because they either have an agenda or they're incompetent. It's pretty simple, right? Kevin O'Leary, first dude, agenda. Clearly, super obvious he's got an agenda. Meet Kevin is either completely incompetent or has an agenda, or there's a third possibility. A little bit of both, right? And then we jump into number 3, Elizabeth Warren, trying to talk about the US dollar. Oh, I'm sorry. Trying to talk about crypto like it is the US dollar. The US dollar is the currency that is used for the most corrupt things in the world, period, right? It's used for all the terrorist type stuff. It's used, we just spent, I don't know if you were living in Iraq or not, $40 billion to Ukraine. You know where Hunter Biden and Joe Biden are getting kickbacks from the government over there? All of that.
The amount of what is the Hunter making, like 76 grand a month doing some bullshit down there for fucking smoking crack and literally raping babies? That's literally what he's doing. Like literally. Like there's videos of it. I fucking frankly won't. I can't watch any of that shit. But people sent me shit, dude. I got fucking pictures and all sorts of shit in my DMs, and I'm just like, I ain't even opening that. I just erase it. I'm like, I can't bring that shit into my mind right now. And look at this, Sam. I like this. This dude don't even like me, period. But I don't give a shit.
Who? Alex?
He probably likes me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't answer any of my shit, but like, whatever. He's so right. And that's why I like him. Look at this. We push forward regardless. Standing still is not an option. This man is in the same wavelength that GRC's on. Not with what he's doing, but with how he's feeling. I have a constant, dude, I haven't looked at my debit card account in fucking a month. I haven't looked at a bunch of shit in a month. I could give a fuck half the time. I just need this. This is a time where sacrifice for certain people. I have no overhead. I am willing to fight. I am willing to be here and pay attention. And I'll take the repercussions of that, how they may stand. But it is not a time where you stand silent and don't say shit. And if you don't know what you're talking about, just help just be good to other people, because there's people out there that know what they're doing, and it helps them if people are cool with them. So just like guys like Alex, man, like Alex knows what he's doing. He made immutable software. He made an amazing product that I really do like. And he really knows, he's saying this because he knows bad things are happening right now. And Sam, in the Hex community, really bad things are happening right now. And like they're trying to make sure guys like Richard will never have a product that is successful. And they will do whatever they have to make guys like that fail. And you know where that happens? Because Richard has all his stop losses in, right? He's been doing this for a decade. Guys like me, guys like, well, maybe not me, because I don't know, I was super directly Hex, but like, anyone else that just, RH Max, for example. RH Max talks about RH products primarily only. And I guarantee he doesn't have backstops on all his finances like Richard does. I guarantee he doesn't have the financial security that maybe Richard does. But he's still going to get an SEC or what? I have no idea. I'm just bringing up these names because his name's RH Maximalist. Literally, that's why I'm bringing up his name. I have no idea. I haven't talked to him about this stuff. So let's say he's not in as good a situation. Well, let's ruin all his people. Let's make them pay $10,000 a piece for lawyers and then lose faith. It's less about the money, more about the faith. Like they're trying to see, but these things are immutable. And they don't get it, that part. Like, it's like, bro, my stake's going to come out in 3 years. It's 100,000 hex, and that's what it's going to be. And if it's a penny that I'm selling it for, hey, that ain't bad. But it's still there, unless someone pulls all liquidity. But Sam will pop some liquidity in there if it gets tight. We were down to 6 million in the USDC pool in hex this morning. Probably bounced back a little bit, but 6 million. And I think someone got hacked last night because I watched like 100 accounts nuke back to back. So I think someone got fleeced last night because I watched the whale bot like over end staked. Everything got end staked. It happened to me too, so I kind of know how it goes. And there was guys saying they got hacked like a month ago, and it took them about a month to get the stakes and like do all the shit. And it's like, if you think this is like, and that's why I don't want to put too much on that we're early, guys. We're early. That's all I'm going to say. Sam, you want to touch on anything before we go?
You guys check out links down below for Instagram and TikTok and other YouTube channel, as well as Twitter. I say what's good over there, but you want to take us out of here with some DeFi proof?
Yeah, we got DeFi proof, guys. We're coming at you live every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern. This is the real deal crypto show. Me and Sam aren't going to waver. There's not too many guys that won't waver, bro. And whether they came at me or anyone or Sam, we don't really care, frankly. It'd be fun to like do something. So, I love standing up and fighting for what I believe in. And frankly, it makes me work harder and usually make more money. So it's fun. It's a fun little dichotomy, guys. But this is a war on information. And I am going to do my part every single day until someone stops me or whatever, or I make so much money that I can finally do the things in life that forever that I would probably want to as far as like for this kind of stuff, you know, like the future, or like the children, like the travel, stuff like that. That's like the ultimate position, but that ain't too much to shoot for me. I just want right now, while I'm 28 years old, I was always told before 30, you can kind of just give it hell, you know? And I was just like, I never had the opportunity to. And I'm like, I'm going to give it hell till 30. Fuck it. See what happens. I'll go to zero on it, boys. Let's go. Crypto in the morning, every single day. Sam, I'll see you soon. If we see any crazy stuff, if I see any crazy stuff, you know I'm going to pop on here. I'll be at my desk for the next 3 hours. DM me. We're on Twitter, JimRatCrypto, Sam.Stolt. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Every single day. Sorry, I got to click the button. Boom, 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 boom.
You already know what time it is.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phones.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phones.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some hedron, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way.